After early buzz surrounding cities like Las Vegas, Nevada, and Dallas, Texas, the big winner of the 2016 Republican National Convention hosting gig is Cleveland, Ohio. Republican National Committee Chairman Reince Priebus announced today that June 28th and July 18th, 2016 are being considered as the possible dates for the convention in the bustling Rust Belt metropolis. Some critics have raised skepticism about the attractiveness of a city like Cleveland, but those with a more positive outlook might see a well-executed convention as a potential boon to Republican voting in an important swing state. We're here to discuss the finer points of Cleveland, Ohio. With me is our own S.E. Cupp, who I think is one of those critics who thinks Ohio, and Cleveland in particular, is the wrong place to be. Yes?
Yes, and I want to talk about Cleveland, but first, can I just address something?
No, if it's about soccer, no, I knew you were going to do this.
The idea that soccer
you're booked to talk about Cleveland.
Somehow a cultural corruption, or that I am less of a conservative or a patriot for liking soccer, is patently absurd.
You just it's that you're right, S.E. It just means you don't love America. You can be conservative, but you're just not into American exceptionalism, all right?
It's patently absurd. It makes us sound really ignorant. I wish I was there. I was literally yelling at the television watching your segment.
Wrong.
Thank you, Con Carroll and Anthony Randazzo, for sticking up for conservative patriots.
Yep. 0-0 ties. You guys can stand for that all you want. Now, how about Cleveland, Ohio?
Okay. Yeah, I think that the RNC needs to be a show. It needs to be a production. We're putting on a show. It needs to be theatrical. We miss that a lot of times, and Democrats seem to always know that. I don't see Cleveland as a particularly young, hip, cool city. I'm not a snob. I've been to Cleveland many times. It's a fun place to visit. But I think we need to be appealing to young millennials. And I did a little research, and according to the last census, Cleveland is actually the 5th oldest, has the highest median age out of like 50 U.S. cities. It's just not a young place.
Are you talking about the people in the city?
But they're actually thinking of leaving. It's just not a place that I think that reads as young and hip, and I think that's important for us.
Well, so now you just said reads young and hip. I'm trying to figure out what your goal is. Is your goal to go to a city with a bunch of young millennials that you can there directly court them to vote for you, or to project an image of youth? And you're saying projecting an image of Cleveland isn't youthful to, I guess, everybody watching TV?
Yeah, I mean, think about the last convention you and I were at in Tampa. I don't think that that read is particularly hip, cool. It felt like we were putting on a business convention. And I think we have to keep some of the theatrics of this in mind when we plan these conventions. And so that means being in a city, maybe like an Austin or a Denver or a Philadelphia or a New York or a Boston, where there's a lot of sort of young, hip, urban culture. I think that's important to us because we need to look more young, hip, urban, and cultured. And I don't know that we can effectively do that in Cleveland.
I did some research, too. So I'm just going to put this up on the screen because you missed some stuff, apparently, about Cleveland. Here we go. I'm in the pro-Cleveland camp, not just because it's a swing state and I might think we win Ohio and thus the presidency by having it there, but did you know here we have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is located in Cleveland, Ohio. The Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority is ranked #1 in this nation, ma'am. Ma'am, #1. Steamship William G. Mather Maritime Museum, a World War I ship, Cleveland, Ohio. And the Cuyahoga River is also there.
Are you doing a parody right now?
No, I'm not.
This sounds like a parody.
Because I thought you wouldn't buy that, I created a second screen. All right, let's go ahead and put that one up. A second full screen, and this is also what's in Cleveland. The Horseshoe Casino, Christie's Cabaret, a renowned strip club in that area, and the Schwitz, where men can go smoke cigars and sit in steam rooms. That, if that's not young, I don't know what is.
Wow. Feels like you might be proving my point. Look, Cleveland's a great town. It's a great town. This is not a slight against Cleveland. I'm thinking about our image and the kind of image we need to project as a convention and as a party, and I'm not sure that we can really accomplish that in a city like Cleveland. Luckily, no one's listening to me, so you and I'm sure will be there in 2016.
I actually think Cleveland is a good choice, but I left aside substantive points to talk about the Schwitz. So thanks for stopping by tonight, S.E.
Okay. Sure.
Some Seattle residents are having second thoughts about that recent $15 an hour minimum wage hike. Could the tide be turning against progressive's favorite economic policy? Buck has more when we come back.